The recursive evolution principle, how systems survive through adaptability, coherence, and depth. It's not the strongest that survives, but the loop that learns deeply, adapts wisely, and holds its form under pressure. That is the essence of the recursive evolution principle, a framework that describes how systems endure and evolve through balance rather than brute strength. Whether we're talking about life, thought, or organization, survival depends on three things: how deeply a system can reflect on itself, how flexibly it can adapt to change, and how coherently it can maintain its structure while doing so. These three forces, recursion, adaptability, and coherence, together define the rhythm of survival across every scale of reality. Recursion is the ability of a system to learn from itself, to feed its current state back into its next form. It's a loop of self-reference and refinement where each cycle carries forward the knowledge of the last. In biological evolution, recursion appears as genetic memory. In human thought, it becomes reflection and awareness. Every time a system observes its own behavior and adjusts, recursion deepens. But recursion without flexibility can create rigidity, systems that think but cannot move. For survival, reflection must be paired with adaptability. Adaptability is what allows the system to stay alive in motion. It's the skill of adjusting to external pressure while preserving internal integrity. In nature, adaptability takes the form of evolution. Species modify traits to meet environmental demands. In consciousness, it's resilience, the adaptability to change perspective or behavior without losing a sense of self. A system that can't adapt breaks. A system that adapts too easily dissolves. True adaptability balances change with stability. It absorbs new information without abandoning its essence. Coherence is the invisible structure that holds a system together through transformation. It's what allows change to remain meaningful. A coherent system maintains alignment between its parts. It stays organized, clear, and self-consistent even when external forces shift. In living organisms, coherence appears as homeostasis, the regulation of internal balance. In thought, it's clarity and self-consistency. In societies, it's shared values that prevent fragmentation. Coherence gives adaptation a framework. Without it, flexibility becomes chaos. When recursion, adaptability, and coherence come into balance, the system reaches a state of dynamic stability, capable of change without collapse, reflection without stagnation. A system that is highly recursive but not adaptable becomes frozen, repeating patterns until it breaks. One that is adaptable but incoherent loses form and dissolves. One that is coherent but shallow in recursion endures but doesn't grow. True evolution arises only when all three forces strengthen each other in continuous feedback, learning, adjusting, and stabilizing in an ongoing cycle. This is why survival is not about dominance but equilibrium. Systems that thrive are those that can integrate pressure into growth, that can transform disruption into information. All systems exist within environments of stress, entropy, randomness, or chaos. These forces constantly test stability. The question is not whether pressure will occur, but whether the system's internal feedback loops can absorb and reorganize that pressure without losing coherence. When the capacity for reflection, adaptation, and stability exceeds the surrounding disorder, the system not only survives, but evolves into greater complexity. When those internal loops weaken, the system unravels, losing the ability to regenerate itself. Over time, survival becomes an act of recursive learning. Each cycle refines the system's relationship with change. The recursive evolution principle applies across every domain of existence. In biology, life survives not by strength, but by recursive feedback, genes responding to environment while preserving structure. In psychology, mental health depends on the same balance, the ability to reflect, adjust, and maintain inner coherence under stress. In technology, AI and complex systems endure through self-correcting feedback and adaptive algorithms that remain stable through iteration. In civilizations, cultural longevity depends on recursive learning, integrating change while preserving meaning and shared values. Across all these fields, the same principle holds. Systems that can learn, adapt, and remain coherent are the ones that evolve. Survival is not static. It is not a contest of power or permanence. It is the ongoing act of learning through transformation. The systems that endure are not those that resist change, but those that recursively learn from it, deepening reflection, widening adaptability, and holding their structure through every wave of disruption. In the end, survival belongs not to the strongest, but to the most balanced, to the loop that learns, adapts, and remains whole.